Hi, thank you for joining us today with Travel by Rich. Today we've got two great guests. It's going to be an exciting show. I'm looking forward to it. Good evening. Welcome to today's show. Tonight we've got a brand that everybody knows. We've got Stuart Levy with us from Sandals and Beaches Resorts. And name brand recognition, you guys are it.
Yes.
Everybody knows Sandals. So we're going to start today asking Stuart to tell us a little bit about the Sandals brand and what they're all about. Stuart?
Thank you, Rich. So, many of you know Sandals has been around for 30 plus years. We are from the Caribbean and we're owned and operated by a Caribbean family. We started out in 1981 with the Sandals brand for couples in love, known as the Luxury Included Vacation. So we raised the bar with the all-inclusive concept and brought in the luxury features, not just the simple amenities that everyone has come to learn and know with the all-inclusive aspect. A few years after the Sandals brand took off, we had Beaches come online, and basically what it was an evolution of all of our past guests who have visited Sandals in the past, and obviously the romance was there, the families grew, and our clientele wanted to share that feeling and all-inclusive nature with the family. Hence Beaches was born, which is our resorts for everyone.
Okay, so real quick, Sandals is adults only, Beaches are for families. So grandma and grandpa, grandkids, mom and dad would go to Beaches.
You know, the best way to equate it, just follow our slogan, Beaches for everyone. You know, we take the romantic couples, we take singles, we take the family members, we take groups from businesses, we take everyone at Beaches Resorts.
Awesome. So tell me, you say you take everyone. What is the clientele for a Sandals resort?
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that. If you look on our commercials and look through the brochures, everybody has a stereotype that when they go to a Sandals resort, they're going to see, you know, the top
Not
models. They're going to see the top models and, you know, the younger couples at our resorts. But really and truly, Sandals does adhere and cater to all types of clientele. You have the more elderly clientele, multi-generational. You have younger millennials who are there on their honeymoons or going to get a destination wedding. So really, there is no specific type of clientele for any one of our Sandals resorts.
So anybody can go there. Everybody's going to have a good time.
Everybody will have a good time. The best thing to do, as I always say, is to contact our travel professionals like yourself, Richard, and that way you'll be able to qualify which resort suits the personality of the clientele, because that's what really matters. It's not who is there, but which resort really features and blends in with the persona of the clientele traveling to the resort.
So I'm getting the impression from you that each resort is different. What might be good for one client over here might not be good for the same client at a different resort.
Absolutely true. We're not a cookie cutter brand. One thing that is equal throughout the Sandals chain is that you'll never find two beds in a room. It's always going to be a king size bed. But we are not a cookie style hotel, so one room isn't equal to the other room. You can't just go from one resort and go to the other resort thinking that, you spent some time in that room, you want the same category room. Each of our room accommodations are different and really do blend in with what the guest is expecting.
So if you had a guest that started in Bahamas, they could go through all your resorts and have a different experience, yet still maintain the luxury experience.
Absolutely true. With the accommodations that we've had with the Love Nest Suites, for example, we have Crystal Lagoon Suites where you have the swim-up pool right outside your patio. You take a few steps and you're into your own private lagoon pool. We also have swimming pool rooms that are 6 floors high in Grenada, for example, with the Infinity Edge Sky Pool Suites. So every resort has a different type of Love Nest suite category that caters to what the client wants when they go on vacation.
I just want to clarify, when you mentioned swim up, that means somebody walks out onto their lanai and actually steps down right into their own little pool, correct?
Right into the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also mentioned weddings. Sandals is well known for doing destination weddings. Is that at every single Sandals?
Every single Sandals and Beaches resorts, we do accommodate destination weddings. We are one of the number one brands in the world when it comes to destination weddings. And we recently rolled out our Al program, which allows brides and grooms to customize their destination wedding experience, so no two weddings are alike.
And how many weddings can actually happen on property on one day? 20 weddings, 30 weddings, 10 weddings?
You know, they really limit it, but we are very popular when it comes to the weddings. And we've had resorts that do, up to 8 and more weddings a day, that they start in the morning and they head right on through the evening.
Okay, and if you go to Sandals and have a wedding, your reception's also there, all your guests are staying there?
Mm-hmm. If your guests are staying there, they're all of course welcome to the all-inclusive aspect. So the best thing with Sandals is that you're not really restricted to a certain type of restaurant or a certain part of the resort. Everything is available to all the guests staying at Sandals Resorts. If you have a family wedding now and you have youngsters who are going to participate in a wedding, that's where we kind of curb the time that the youngsters are going to be on the resort, and then we kindly escort them off the property after a certain amount of time, just because we have to keep up the ambiance of the couples in love, the romantic adults only feel, so we don't offend the guests who are already on the resort.
But if you have a blended family that maybe has a 6-year-old that's going to be a flower girl, she can attend the wedding and be the flower girl.
She can attend the wedding, and for those type of situations, we always push to have our Sandals and Beaches weddings side by side, meaning we choose Sandals resorts that are close by Beaches resorts, so that the families can stay at Beaches, they can get transferred to the Sandals resorts.
Awesome.
So you still get the all-inclusive feel for everybody staying in the island of choice, but then they don't miss out on what has to happen during the day.
And I will say this about destination weddings. I've done 39 of them myself, and a lot of people think a destination wedding might be 30, 40 people. It can be just you and your spouse-to-be, and people forget that sometimes. So I wanted to touch base on that. You mentioned restaurants. How many restaurants are typically at a Sandals resort?
We have an average of 6 to 8 restaurants per resort, and 6 being on the low end for our smaller resorts, and that's when you'd find other resorts close by, for example in Montego Bay and St. Lucia, where we have our exchange program. So you stay at one, you get to play and enjoy all 3 resorts. But on the high end, when we have an average of 8 restaurants, those restaurants you typically would find a buffet style restaurant, and then you'll find a la carte restaurants, and none of them require any additional charges or any fees. You might have to make reservations for one, but we accept everyone. There's a strict dress code that's also available to our clients. Once they get onto the resort, they'll be briefed and they'll have information in the rooms. But we have steakhouses, we have seafood restaurants, we have sushi restaurants, you name it, we have it. And of course, because we're in the Caribbean, we always have Caribbean-style cuisine that's available to our guests.
Right, and there's always something out at a pool as well, right?
Always.
I think it's important to note that there's so many different types of restaurants. And when you say a la carte, for those that don't understand, that just means you're ordering plated dishes. Mm-hmm. You're still not paying for anything.
Yes, and to touch on the restaurants, for a steak restaurant, for example, Butcher's Chop House, any amount of steaks that you want to order, if you want more lobster tails, if you want an additional filet mignon, you can keep ordering. There's no additional surcharge, there's no fee, there's no check, and we absolutely do not accept tips at any of the Sandals and Beaches resorts. So there's no tipping allowed on property at any time.
I'm in. Just to wrap up on Sandals, tell us some of the activities that go on there, because not everybody's going there for a love nest or to get married.
Well, the best part about our product is that everything is included, which means the water sports, motorized and non-motorized sports are included. Scuba diving, if you're an avid scuba diver and certified, that's included. The land sports, everything is included. So there's an amount of activities for everyone to take part in.
So you're saying if you're a diver, you can go to Sandals and you have dive programs for them that are included in the
Yep, every day there are dive sites that we take our clients out to. They can dive up to 2 times a day and repeat that throughout their stay. They just have to make sure they have their certification. If they're not certified, they can get certified for an additional fee on resort.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our Sandals portion of the show. We'll be back just in a couple minutes and we'll be talking about beaches. Stuart, thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Hi, welcome back. We're still here with Stuart Levy with Sandals and Beaches Resorts. We've just finished talking about the Sandals Adults Only All-Inclusive Resorts. Now Stuart's going to take us through the Beaches Resorts, which is, as I believe he said earlier, Beaches is for everyone.
Yes.
Correct?
So our family resort Beaches brand is for everyone. So if you have singles or if you have couples who are also in love but like the experience of being around families, this is definitely the resort choice for you.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the tough question right off the top. How safe are my kids at a Beaches Resort?
Absolutely safe. When you speak about our nanny program, for example, with our kids camp, our nannies are trained by the American Association for Nannies on an annual basis. So they come down, they train them, they have to pass in order to maintain being a nanny. We cater to newborns all the way up to teenagers. We have our teens and tweens program, for example, that caters to the teenagers because they don't want to be around the younger siblings while they're on vacation.
Or their parents.
But let's go back to the nanny program. Our ratio of nannies to kids doesn't exceed 3-to-1.
Oh.
So you'll never find classrooms. They're very strict. We also have the CCTV cameras at all locations across the property. So you'll have security who is always watching and ensuring that everything is being taken care of. In addition to dropping off your kids at the babysitters or the kids camp, in conjunction with our Sesame Street program, it's extremely strict that the parents have to drop off passports. There are secret passwords that each parent has to have, so that no one can just come and get the kid out of the daycare without the other parent knowing about it. So it's very strict and adamant that we follow through with those programs. And as I said, with the Teens and Tweens program, we also have employees who take the teenagers out, take them away from the parents and the younger siblings, do more mature stuff, but still responsible, educational, entertain them throughout their stay, dine with them. And we have our Trench Town, which is strictly for our teens and tweens, so no adults are allowed inside. So this is somewhere where they can go and escape, have their alone time, interact with other age groups in their age group at the camp, and have a wonderful vacation.
Okay, so say I drop my 6-year-old off and I tell my mother to go pick her up. My mother can't pick her up unless I've given authorization for that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So you can't have an aunt come and pick somebody up, the mother or sister, if there are any altercations or disagreements in the family. We want to make sure that the child is protected as per what the parents wanted.
Okay, and what's to keep my 6-year-old from coming off to try to find me and my wife or my spouse's?
Their kids are always being watched, and if there is a problem that the parents need to be alerted, we do follow up. We have telephone numbers, and we know the itinerary of where the parents will be, so that we can always take the child to the parents if there is an emergency.
Okay, if I have a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, are they all able to be together in the camp, or do they segregate them with age groups?
We'll segregate them with the age groups, simply because you generally don't find teenagers who want to stick around with the 4-year-olds or
Absolutely.
the 6-year-olds. So the teens and tweens will go off on their own, and then the smaller age groups, the younger age groups, will be in their own kids camp group.
Okay, I'm spending time on this because the accommodations at an Beaches or Sandals are all going to be 5 stars, so I don't think we really need to spend much time on that. But I would like to know, my 14-year-old girl, what's she going to be doing with other 14-year-olds?
Okay, so as I had mentioned with the Teens and Tweens camp program that we have the Xbox Lounge, for example, that our teenagers and younger kids like to mess around in the Xbox Lounge. We've recently taken out the Xboxes out of the bedrooms. Simply because we wanted the kids to immerse themselves into the vacation and not really in a gaming console while they're in the room. So they can go to the Xbox Lounge. We have activities at the water park where the supervisors will go ahead and chaperone them around to the
So
pools.
beaches have water parks?
Oh yeah, we definitely have water parks. Yeah.
So it's not just a pool, there's all kinds of activities.
We have multiple pools, we have the water parks, we have sailing programs that are available as well with the American Sailing Association. So if your kids want to get certified on how to, as a neat summer program while they're on vacation, they can definitely do a sailing program and learn how to sail and pilot their own watercraft.
And what if, as a parent, do I have to authorize them to be allowed to do certain activities, or is it just carte blanche if they want to do it?
No, if they, everything is supervised. So if you're going to do a water sport activity, we always have lifeguards and supervisors on hand who will take the kids. So you don't need a parent's approval for a child to go on, to go sailing. The water will always go with supervision. So there's no need to be following around and signing waivers here and there.
And while my 14-year-old's learning to sail, what's my 6-year-old doing?
You know, your 6-year-old is probably fully immersed with the Sesame Street characters, taking selfies. We have programs where they'll get to cook with Cookie Monster, bake cookies with Cookie Monster. They'll learn with Elmo. They also, too, enjoy the water parks. We have kiddie pools available, and there's arts and craft classes going on. So there is a multitude of activities for everyone to take part in.
You just reminded me, in December I was in Jamaica, and I believe Cookie Monster and Elmo both came out dressed as elves because they were bringing Santa out behind them. And I think he was in a Mini Cooper, if I recall right. So do we come get them for lunch, dinner? How's that work with them?
Funny enough, when I used to work on the resorts as a food and beverage manager, the first 2 days, you'd see the families always, eating lunch together, eating dinner together, breakfast. But after the third day or after the second day, everybody completely disregards that rule. They'll probably eat breakfast together, but lunch, everybody is split up. Mom and dad are enjoying the beach. The kids are over by the pool. We have restaurants on that end. And because it's a completely 100% safe resort, everybody is on their own, enjoying their own activities during the height of the day. And then maybe for the evening time, they'll all group back together again, have dinner, and then they separate and disperse.
So then if the kids' camp is taking the kids to lunch, are they just going to the buffet, or do they have access to different restaurants?
No, they have access to all the restaurants. They typically tend to focus on the buffet restaurants, simply because kids are very picky eaters.
Absolutely.
And our buffet restaurants allows the kids to nitpick out what they really want to eat. But at the same time, we take food allergies extremely extremely serious at our resorts. So the restaurant, the food and beverage team, and the babysitters, they're aware that they don't allow kids to just go and grab cookies off of the buffet. If they know, which they'll know ahead of time, if a child has food allergies, they'll notice ahead of time, and they'll be accommodating to the child at the restaurant. So we have their meals prepared separately and apart from peanut allergies, for example, or seafood allergies.
Yeah, I'll say I've actually had clients go to Sandals and Beaches where on the first day they arrive, they meet with the head chef and discuss the different allergies and what they can eat, what their kids can't eat. What goes on at night in the way of activities that the whole family can participate in?
Nightly entertainment, we have theater acts going on, for example. We have fire breathers, fire dancers. There's always an activity going on at nighttime, whether it's live music. We have sometimes we have dancers coming in. We have calypso parties. So it all varies. Every night there's a different activity, and the guests will be updated on the daily planner that's dropped off to every room.
And they're family oriented, so the whole family can go to that, or are they segregated again?
All family oriented programs. And we also have movie nights where, for example, at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, where we'll have lounge chairs in the pool and a nice screen TV where you're watching your favorite family movies all together with popcorn.
That sounds wonderful. Stuart, as we wrap up, can you tell me where we can find Sandals and Beaches throughout the Caribbean?
So we're located throughout all of the English-speaking Caribbean. So we're in Jamaica. We have Bahamas, where you have Nassau and Emerald Bay, which is on the island of Exuma. We have St. Lucia, 3 in St. Lucia. We have Antigua. We have 2 in Barbados, 1 in Grenada.
I lost count of how many that is. I've been to 5 of them myself. Great resorts for family or just for those couples. Great places to have a wedding. Stuart, thank you very much for educating us. Have a great day, and remember, happy travels. Okay, so we've done a lot of talking about cruising and other type of travel. Today I've got Jeff Cesar with Rocky Mountaineer here with me. Jeff actually represents a company that is train travel through Canada. So we're going to start with, why don't you give us a quick overview of Rocky Mountaineer?
I'd be more than happy to, Rich. So for those of you who are not familiar, Rocky Mountaineer is a train and tour operator based in the Northwest Rockies. It's luxury, fine dining, a seamless travel experience where you'll never sleep on board. You're going to stay in hotels every night. Because if you're sleeping, you're missing the sights, the scenery, the wildlife, and the wilderness. And if you haven't been to places like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Whistler, Vancouver, these are breathtakingly beautiful, awe-inspiring, gorgeous places in the world we live in. So that is what we're all a sense. And on top of being a train that we own, around 20 engines, around 60 train cars. So we got trains going all the time. On top of a train, we're also a tour operator, having tours like Summit Helicopter Tours, Hiking on Glaciers, National Park Tours, City Tours. This is almost, if you will, an all-inclusive way of traveling up in the Canadian Rockies. We'll handle the hotels, handle the transfers, handle the tours, the train, everything, even meals. We don't do anything with airfare, but I know you could probably help anyone out with airfare.
Absolutely.
But everything else we'll take care of for you under the sun, and it is truly a life-changing experience.
So tell me, how does that work if you stay in a hotel every night? Where's the train go?
So great question. So how it works is, you'll be boarding in, say, 3 different places, either Seattle, Vancouver, or Calgary, because those are the 3 large airports within this part of the world that make it easy to get in and out of. And let's say you're starting in Vancouver heading eastbound. You're heading towards Banff, Lake Louise, Calgary, that direction, which I highly recommend because the hills become mountains, the mountains become glaciers, the wildlife grows statistically in numbers and variance and abundance. There's lots of good reasons why I recommend going eastbound, just being one of those. And you'll board the train in Vancouver, head over to Kamloops, overnight there. It's such a seamless experience. Your luggage is going to be transferred by truck. It's going to be waiting for you in the hotel room. Before you even get off the train, you've already been checked into the hotel. You're going to take a bus over to the hotel, find your room, your luggage will be waiting for you next to your bed. The next day, you're going to wake up and you will be boarding the train again. Your luggage, you don't have to take it to the lobby, outside your door. You're going to leave it right where you found it, next to your bed. You'll see the next hotel. Now that is seamless. We don't want you burning any calories. You don't want to. So then you get to say, let's go to Banff. And for example, it's a beautiful Rocky Mountain town nestled in the heart of the Rockies. It's just breathtakingly gorgeous with Rundle Mountain looking over the whole little city there, and Sulphur Mountain, a great place to go up and see some sights. And you can then spend a couple nights here doing some of the tours and seeing some of the sights and scenery. You can head up to Jasper, which is another fantastic city up in the Canadian Rockies, and then jump on a train heading back to Vancouver. So the train in most parts are on a 2 or 3 day at the beginning, and then you can either continue with some touring around the Canadian Rockies and fly out of Calgary going a one-way. A one-way meaning an average of 7 to 8 nights, what most people like to do.
Right.
The quickest trip with Rocky Mountaineer is 4 nights to 5 days. So if you were trying to fit something in, especially after maybe a pre or post cruise tour, many people do Alaska cruises and
Right.
can embark and disembark in Seattle and Vancouver, but the average of people spend for one way is 7 to 8 nights. And if you want to do a circle journey or round trip, you can do round trip Seattle, round trip Vancouver, round trip Calgary, just add additional nights. Everything about Rocky Mountaineer, one big point, if you can remember anything from this short time together, is how we can customize everything for you. You just tell Rich exactly what you want, when you want, with the budget that works best for you. Seriously. And you're going to make that happen for them. That's the nice thing about us.
Tell me, about what's the average time you're spending on a train each day?
The average is boarding around 8 and 9 in the morning, arriving between 5 and 6:30 p.m. So you're going to definitely have breakfast and lunch on pretty much all of our trains except one going from Seattle to Vancouver. That's dinner. You're having dinner at sunset. The train leaves around 3 p.m. So fantastic time after lunch. And on one longer day, also up in the north, you also perhaps have a chance for dinner. So you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it is a full day on the train. Our average speed is not like the Via Rail or Amtrak's. They're up there as well, but their average speeds are 50 to 55 miles an hour. Our average speed is 30 to 35 miles an hour. And we slow down for every amazing part along the way, the bridges, the waterfalls, the wildlife. Now, another unique part about Rocky Mountaineer, and I love to kind of share these unique things because that's what makes us so amazing, is no other passenger trains are on the same tracks as us. So even though they're in this area, the only other trains that are on our tracks that we use are freight cars carrying automobiles, produce, grain, wheat, barley. Now, I know you may not be thinking that's such a great thing, but it actually turns out to be such an amazing part because animals like bears, mountain goats, moose, elk, deer, coyotes, etc., when they hear a train on our tracks, apart from the automobiles, because they don't give anything except cars, and that's not going to help an animal. The produce, the grain, the barley, that falls, and the animals come out of the woods, out of the riverbeds, out of the mountains, and it literally turns into a train safari. And we'll slow down to 5 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour. There have been times in the past we've had to slow down to a crawl, so we're pushing animals off the tracks because they're eating this grain and stuff that's fallen on the tracks. And we're not going to try to hurt anyone, but it's so unique. Our train cars have outdoor veranda spaces, allowing you to go outside, take a breath of fresh air, take pictures and video, and be within feet of these animals. So like a train safari, if there was something to exist. It's
Very nice.
very unique and different types of a trip that is perhaps you may not be aware of.
So I would assume it's just normal seating on the train. It's not like you have a cabin since you're not spending the night, so it's just nice seating, a dining car.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the way it works, let's talk, for example, we have two classes of service, Silverleaf and Goldleaf. And I'll start with Silverleaf first. That's a single-story car. It has panoramic windows, dome arch windows at the top. You have 3 hosts or hostesses on board, handling the history, cultural facts, storytelling, jokes, keep you entertained, and wearing up to date on what's coming up ahead. You do have an outdoor veranda space that holds up to 6 people, so you can take a breath of fresh air, take pictures and video. You are going to have all-inclusive beverage choices, so drink as much as you like. But remember, as you go up in elevation, that 1 glass of wine is more like 3, and it could be the most expensive nap of your life. So never binge, unless that's what you want to do. And you also have the Michelin-trained chefs. We're talking fine dining. Michelin-trained chefs on board, cooking made-to-order food, a few feet away from where you're sitting. Made to order. They're going to come through the aisle in a Silverleaf car, and they'll be plating the food. They'll be putting linens down. And this is not your typical airline seat. We're talking, if anything, a luxury first-class airline, leather seats. In fact, when I get to Goldleaf, I'll even share more about the seats. But in Silverleaf, LED lighting, charging capabilities at all the different seats. Very spacious, very roomy. They're going to plate your food. It's customizable food portions, so you can eat as much as you like. And let's go over to Goldleaf real quick. Goldleaf is a 2-story car. The top level, 360-degree dome windows. So the whole entire roof window. 4 hosts as opposed to 3. All-inclusive beverage choices as well. Downstairs, you're looking at having a small lounge area, a full dining area, a full kitchen attached to that dining area. None of the food is brought on board frozen and cooked in an oven or microwave. Everything is made to order on board. So that is something that's quite unique and different with Rocky Mountaineer. And there you're going to have a lot more variety of options on Goldleaf of food. So Silverleaf, 2 to 3 entree options that change daily for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner. For Goldleaf, 5 to 6 entree options that change daily for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner. Appetizers, of course, many options, dessert, and of course all you can drink. All the outdoor vestibule on the Goldleaf holds up to 16 people, so 3 times the size which you have on Silverleaf. And these seats on the Goldleaf, built in Switzerland, they're the equivalent of long-haul sleeper seats, hard shell in the back so you're not encroaching anyone's space behind you. They almost turn into a bed. Full leather. They have heating capabilities, not that you ever need it, because honestly the weather in the Canadian Rockies is far more superior than what you ever find in Alaska, just because it's lower on the hemisphere, and you can Google it. Google doesn't lie. But it's really, these seats are incredible, super nice and very luxury. The whole foot thing opens up so you can get really quite comfortable.
So when you're overnighting at the hotels, what type of hotels are we staying at?
So being customizable and trying to work with anyone's budget, you're looking at 3 stars all the way up to 5 diamond. So from staying and working with all the Fairmont properties, the Rimrock, the Four Seasons, Sutton Place, I can go on. Some incredible, beautiful properties that I highly recommend, to the Marriott, the Sheraton, the Hyatt, the Holiday Inn. So that's quite another point to just kind of work with. If you look at Rocky Mountaineer and you're trying to make something work with a budget, you can actually customize everything, change hotels to work with your budget. Maybe in Vancouver, stay in a Silverleaf property, meaning a 3-star or above hotel. All the hotels are centrally located, so you can easily get to and from wherever you need to be. Then in places like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, where you're in these beautiful places, maybe upgrade a bit. Stay in a Fairmont property or the Rimrock and enjoy the amenities there. And back to Calgary, switch back to a Silverleaf property. So once again, you're going to just tell Rich exactly what you want, how you want to do it, what tours you want. He can make anything possible so that you're able to get exactly what you're looking for.
And real quick to wrap up, can you quickly say just exactly what type of tours are available on an adventure like that?
There's so many, from Zodiac tours to cycling tours to hiking and walking into national parks with park rangers to boat tours to, I already said boat tours, to Ice Explorer, like going on a huge mammoth truck over a glacier, helicopter tours, gondola rides. We have over 60 or 70 different tours to choose from. So
I hope you enjoyed today's show. We had some great guests on board with us telling us all about their products. My tip for you this week is try something new when you're traveling. Don't get stuck in the hamburgers and hot dogs mode. Try the pasta in Italy. Try the bangers and mash in England. And remember, always use a travel agent. They are your best advocate. And a very special thanks to Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines for sponsoring this week's show. Happy travels.